minutes. Craig Gass, a comedian who's shooting his comedy special at Unscrewed Theater this weekend, is joining us. And a little bit later on, we're going to have a Fast Pitch, Bree from Fast Pitch in studio, talking about how Tucson residents can score themselves tons of money if they have like a business proposal. That's like a good fast business proposal. So we'll talk with Bree around 9 o'clock. So welcome and welcome back, Gass. Now, I've known of Craig Gass, been a fan of Craig Gass for many years. Through my time up in Phoenix through radio. You were frequent of my colleague Kevin Gassman. You'd be on the show all the time there. And of course, you have history with Frank's show and KLPX. Yep. So you grew up here in Tucson. Did you go to high school here in Tucson?
Yes, I went to Amphitheater High School for a long time, and I still don't have my diploma. I did. But you know what? I went on 2 senior trips, and I attend the reunions for each of my senior years. That
so
is
you
not a
had 2
joke.
senior years? 2 senior years?
Yeah, 2 senior years. And I go to I'll go to all the reunions. Dude, I was a part of this too. Come on, man. Let's hang out, man. It's pathetic. But it kind of messed me up for a while until things started to work out in comedy. But yeah, man, I grew up here in Tucson, and the whole the comedy special that I'm filming here this weekend is all about my time in Tucson, and it's really personal. But I grew up in Tucson. My mom moved us here when I was a kid. And in stand-up comedy, I'm known as a guy who does voices. And the reason for that is because of how I grew up. And this is not a joke. This is a true story. Everyone in my family is deaf. My mom, my dad, and my sister.
They were born deaf.
Well, my mom was born completely deaf. My dad was born with all of his hearing, and then he lost it when he was a kid. He got into an accident, popped out his eardrums. Right. So he had to go to deaf schools for the rest of his life. Met my mom, and they had my sister first. My sister's born with my mom's genes, completely deaf. And then I was born with my dad's genes with all my hearing. So I'm the only one in my family.
That's crazy. So are you afraid that you might start going deaf at some point? I mean, you obviously have been to audiologists to kind of check that out, right?
Well, it could skip a generation. I could potentially have a child that could be deaf.
Right.
But I mean, I'm okay with it. I know sign language. So
yeah.
But growing up in a deaf family, though, I couldn't learn how to talk from my family. I learned how to talk by watching TV and copying all the voices I heard on TV. And I never got an accent from the Bronx, which is where I grew up. And everybody in the Bronx sounds like Tracy Morgan. Everybody in the Bronx talk like this, whether you black or white. Male or female, that's crazy. Hey, this is the voice of your next door neighbor, and I'm a Vietnamese girl. That's crazy. Like everybody sounded like that. So the weirder the voice, the easier it is for me to do it. Like Christopher Walken has a real stop and go kind of voice where he'll talk every once in a while. He'll stop, and then he'll keep going. Or
That's amazing.
Adam Sandler, who he's very, whatever. But that led to where I'm at now with radio and doing voices on cartoons like Family Guy and American Dad, and that's the backstory that got me to where I'm at now. And
yeah, that's what. See, a lot of people don't recognize the hired gun that Craig Gass is. You know, seriously, has been a part of some of like the most historic comedy franchises, whether it's radio like the Howard Stern Show or Family Guy, like you just mentioned. And you're constantly working, dude. And still writing stand up at the same time.
Yes, and I ended up along the way having moments where I would do impressions of somebody, and they would try to find me. You know, I had a moment on the Howard Stern Show where Gene Simmons from Kiss actually got on a plane and he flew to New York to confront me live on the air about my impression of him, which was frightening.
Was that years ago or was that recently?
That was years ago, but the story continues because it started with every time we had a music guest in the studio, I would constantly interrupt the music guest as Gene Simmons and try to sell them crappy Kiss product.
Yes.
And it was just this funny, like, it's so silly. Like and we didn't know at the time, the real Gene Simmons actually started getting hate mail because of the stuff I was saying on the Howard Stern Show.
Wow.
And he showed up at our door, our producer Gary came in and said, "Hey guys, we got a problem. Gene Simmons from Kiss just walked in the building. He wants to beat the hell out of Craig right now." I was like, what? And he just showed up, and we had this confrontation. And the next day, I got a phone call from their management company called McGee Entertainment, and they said, "Hey, we just want to call and let you know that our singer, Paul Stanley, is your biggest fan."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" And they go, "Yeah, don't tell anybody this."
What
but
a trip.
Paul Stanley loves when anybody makes fun of Gene. And I was like, "Get out of here. Are you serious?"
Yeah, because he knows about Gene, and now
Right.
like,
And he absolutely loved it. And this weird thing happened where Paul called me and offered me a job to perform with Kiss. And it was on this event called the Kiss Cruise. And I was like, "So you want me to just make like what am I doing? You want me to like introduce the band?" And he goes, "Well, let me ask you a question. How many jokes do you have about Gene?" And I said, "Literally hours." And Paul goes, "You got the gig."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What? Really?" And I got to perform with Kiss. Dude, it's so weird because first of all, doing that stuff with Kiss, doing the stuff about Gene Simmons, I started getting contacted by people who actually knew Gene Simmons, who wanted to send me personal stories about him. Like, "Dude, I got a story for you. You can use this."
All trying to throw him under the bus.
Throw him under the bus.
Like,
And the stories were terrible.
yeah, like
Dude, there was another guy that I know who works for the band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he called me up and he goes, "Hey, dude, I'm with the Chili Peppers right now. We're recording an album. The guy who owns the studio was just talking about you." And I go, "That's my friend Craig." And so I told him I would call you. "Dude, you mind if I put this guy on the phone?" And I go, "Yeah, man." And the guy goes, "Hey, dude, I just want to tell you, I'm a big fan of your impressions, especially your Gene Simmons, because Gene Simmons was the first guy to ever screw me over in this business. And I thought you'd appreciate the story. He came into my studio a few years ago. He was going to produce a new artist at my studio. At the last minute, Gene Simmons tried to, he wanted to switch into my largest space for the same amount of money. And he showed up at my studio and said, "Did you get my message? I want to use Studio A." And I said, "I did. I actually called you back. I don't know if you got my message, but someone is using that studio. I asked them if they would switch, and they said no." "Do they know that Gene Simmons from Kiss is here?" And he goes, "You know what? I'm not going to ask them again, but if you want to ask them, you can ask them." He goes, "All right, where's Studio A?" And he goes, "It's all the way down the hall. It's the last door on the right." Gene Simmons goes walking down the hallway, opens up the door to Studio A, looks inside and sees the rap group, the Wu-Tang Clan, recording an album.
Oh.
Closes the door, comes back up to the front and goes, "Right, where's Studio B?" He never even opened his mouth to the Wu-Tang Clan.
Smart.
Yeah. The other
smart move.
Yeah.
The other story that I love is a guy who works with Kiss on the road crew who said, "Hey, dude, I got a story for you, man. I've worked with Kiss, on and off for about 20 years, right? Before Gene Simmons got married, we were on the road. First of all, Gene hooked up with Miss America.
Wow.
While we were on tour. It was the reigning Miss America of that year, and Gene hooked up with her.
Right.
The next night, Gene hooked up with a girl that looked like a prostitute. Like it was so obvious that even the guys in the road crew were like, "Jesus, did you see that?"
Right.
Dude?
So he went from like top
to
bottom of the barrel,
almost sex worker. The next night,
they
have a day off in a town that's so small that the band and the crew are staying in the same hotel. Typically, Kiss will stay in a 5-star hotel, but there wasn't a 5-star in this town.
Right.
And the guy is telling me, he goes, "Dude, I was in the bar of that hotel on our night off, and I just happened to turn around as Gene Simmons is walking through the lobby, and he's dragging this very heavy set girl with him through the lobby, gets in the elevator, pushes the button to his floor, and then notices me and makes eye contact and folds his arms and goes, 'Oh yeah,' bing," and then the doors closed to the elevator. And he said the next day at sound check, he walked up to him and he goes, Gene, did you hook up with that girl last night?" And he goes, "Of course." And he goes, "Gene, didn't you hook up with Miss America the other night?" And he goes, Steve, listen to me, okay? I'm going to give you some valuable advice. You can't have filet mignon every night. Sometimes you got to go to McDonald's." That is the worst love advice I've ever heard in my life.
Just a full blown addict. I mean,
He's a full blown addict.
He's
My God.
Yeah, and he's notorious for being sober, like not drinking, not smoking.
Notorious for being cheap.
Yeah,
Right.
cheap. Yeah,
Dude, I just did I did my first music video ever a couple weeks ago with Sebastian Bach. I opened up the Sebastian Bach video. That guy has a story about, he goes, dude, I went to Gene Simmons' house and that guy has a freaking Kiss museum in his house, which is true. He has this room that's dedicated to every piece of Kiss merchandise that's ever existed. And he goes, there was a bag with like 100 Kiss cell phone covers. And I said, dude, what the hell is that? And Gene Simmons goes, that's our new promotion for Kissmas. That's our new Kiss cell phone covers. Can I have one of those? I wish I could, but if you go to kissonline.com, you can buy as many as you want. And he wouldn't give him a single piece of plastic.
Yeah, he doesn't give anything away.
It was one piece of plastic. Yeah, dude, that's part of the show that I'm filming this weekend is going to be about Gene Simmons and that.
I love that you did the comedy special. That was just a full hour of just bagging on Kiss. And I still have more questions to ask about that. We got to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. We're going to have more with Craig Gass here in Rock 1 2x1, but you can join us.
And if you're coming to the shows this weekend, the tickets are at getgas.com. Get Gas with 2 S's.
And it's two shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday?
Correct. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday.
What time? 7 and 9?
7 and 9 Friday, 6 and 8 on Saturday.
Excellent.
And the 8 o'clock show is almost sold out, actually. That one's all the tickets are about halfway gone now. So.
Nice. Excellent. Well, we're going to continue with Gas here, but we're keeping it moving on the podcast broadcast. You can join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. There, I'm going to ask more about that Kiss cruise and how Gene Simmons reacted around Gas during that very time, that time where you guys are literally on a ship together and there's no escape.
I thought he was going to throw me off.
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll be back with more right after this. Rock 1 2.1 KFMA. Clear. All right, yeah. So when you do this cruise with Kiss and Paul Stanley's loving it and pretty much want you to roast Gene this entire time, right? How's Gene reacting to you and interacting with you?
There's a moment that is somewhere on YouTube. I love hearing that there are. By the way, we're not on terrestrial right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So can I curse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So there is stuff on YouTube that you will not believe that just sits there. And I know this because a musician friend of mine, Matt Sorum, told me about performing a gig called
Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Yeah. He has this band he's been in with Dave Navarro called Camp Freddy. They do covers.
Yeah.
And he told me about a night when they were at what's that place that Johnny Depp owned on Sunset Boulevard, where River Phoenix died. The Viper Room.
Yeah, the Viper Room.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're at the Viper Room doing a gig, and someone goes, dude, Chrissy Hine is here. And they're like, well, yeah, dude, Chrissy Hine is here. And so from the microphone, someone goes, hey, we understand that Chrissy Hine is here. Chrissy, come sing a song. I was like, woo. And Matt tells me, he's like, I'm behind the drum kit, and I see Chrissy walking the stage, and I go, oh, shit. She's fucking hammered. And she got up on stage, and she was like, hey, what is going on? And it's like, all right, let's play some Pretenders. And she goes, fuck that. And she's like, and she goes, play some Elvis. We'll do some And then Dave Navarro starts talking on one of the mics. And she looked over at Dave Navarro and went, I'm gonna suck your dick today. And I go, yeah. And Dave goes, all right, well, let's play a song. And he starts playing a song.
Yeah.
Chrissy Hine gets down on her knees and tries to suck his dick
in front of everybody.
Wow.
And Matt's telling me the story, and I go, oh man, that's an incredible story. And he goes, no, the incredible story is that it's on YouTube and it's been there for 10 years. And I was like, shut the fuck up. And I looked it up, and it's on YouTube.
Chrissy
you can
Hine.
see a video of Chrissy Hine trying to suck off Dave Navarro. It's the craziest fucking thing. It's been on for 10 years and I don't even think it has 20,000 views over the course of 10 years.
Beef is never typed faster.
Yeah.
Here it is. It's called Dave Navarro Almost Blowjob.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
And Chrissy Hine, like Dave Navarro is like, oh, okay. And he's being playful and laughing until she tries to yank on his pants and he goes, what the fuck? And then
Yeah. All right.
That's it?
Dude.
It's
How
vi-
is this not viral?
All right, check this.
Well, she doesn't actually get.
Doesn't
'cause
matter.
He gets scared when his pants start to really come down.
Right.
He's like, "What the fuck? Can you play it?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Grab her ass a little bit.
Yeah.
Back of her head. Oh yeah, it's turning her on. It's like
Oh yes.
I'm having the time of my life, everybody. Do it, Kissy Hine. Do it, Kissy Hine. Whoa, Kissy Hine. You feel sweaty and chilled out. You don't want this shit.
This is what uncensored radio is for.
yes, it is.
My God.
She wants it. Good save. That was a good save.
That's a very good save.
So she was about to do it, and then
So
she.
please, Scott Patterson. I really
Now,
Yeah, that's where it stops.
She's wasted.
Yeah.
Just the fact that like he's like into it, and then there's that panic little eyeball moment of like, oh God, oh,
Yeah.
microphone. There you go.
Well, and I think he was probably in a relationship at the time as well.
Mhm.
You know, possibly
Maybe.
with Carmen Electra.
This
Maybe.
is all
Now-
on YouTube.
question: how old is that video?
Well, let's see. The date on that video said it was 15 years ago. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I looked up. I tried to find other Chrissy Hine stuff, and I saw a video near, like, connected to that one that said Chrissy Hine talks about sobriety, and I clicked on it, and it was an interview from 14 years ago. So
Okay.
clearly, that
Mm.
was like,
Her rock bottom
you don't remember trying to blow Dave Navarro
in front of everybody at the
In front of
Viper room.
It's on YouTube. You fucking drunk.
Yeah, yeah. You took the microphone, which obviously is always phallic like.
Yeah, right.
And
You tried to suck his dick.
he tried to suck his dick in front of everybody.
So with that is an example of what I want to say, that there's videos on YouTube that you go, holy shit, I can't believe that video. So when you ask me about what was that relationship like with Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, there's a video on YouTube, and I wouldn't even tell you to bring it up because we'd have to really comb through like a 1 hour video to find the moment. But
Okay.
the first Kiss cruise I was ever on, my first contractual obligation was there's a sail away show with Kiss, and they're going to play 1 hour on the pool deck for all 3,000 fans. And then after the band finishes, I come up on stage, I grab a microphone, the band, they'll bring out 4 chairs, and then I'm going to host a Q&A.
Yeah.
So I am going to bring fans up to ask questions of the band. And the band is to my left. Gene Simmons is right next to me. Paul Stanley's on the far end. And
You can hear him breathing.
It's so
yes,
funny, yeah.
and you can smell his tongue. And and fans are coming up on stage from my right. And so every fan that comes up, I go, all right, what is your name? Weirdo. All right, Weirdo, where are you from? Tucson, Arizona. All right, Weirdo, this is Kiss. Ask your question. And then they're asking the questions.
Yeah.
And then I get out of the way and I let them have a conversation. This guy gets up on stage and goes, I have a question for Paul Stanley. Paul, you have a tattoo of a rose on your right shoulder. I just want to know, does that tattoo have any meaning? And I took that question and I put the mic down like that. And right as I put the mic down, Gene Simmons leans in and says, yeah, it means he's gay. And I went, what? And it went right into the mic. And Paul Stanley goes, wait a minute, hold on. What did you say, Gene? What did you say? And Gene's just laughing and he's like ribbing me. And then he goes, no, Craig, ask Gene, tell Gene to repeat what he just said. And I was like, I'm not getting in between. You guys.
Right, yeah.
Dude, those guys, in fact, another testament about what's on YouTube, there's a Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley fight on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I
Oh
mean,
my
they've
God.
been legendarily at it. They're kind of like brothers in a weird way, and this love-hate like relationship that's going on 4 decades.
Someone who worked at ABC or for Dick Clark
Mm-hmm.
dumped an uncut interview with Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, where they are the tension is so thick. It was from Dick Clark's New Year's Eve show. It looks like it's probably early 90s based on how they look. And this guy says in front of the camera, he's standing in front of the camera with Gene and Paul who are getting mic'd.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, guys, so here's the deal. I'm just going to ask you some fun questions. Just give me some fun, playful answers. And then we're going to cut these little segments up.
Here, we're gonna finish this on the air real quick. I don't mean to interrupt. We got about 7 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why the Kiss fans hate me.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, so here we go. Rock 102.1 KFMA. That was Jet. We're back with comedian Craig Gass. We're talking stories about Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley and Kiss, his experience. And why does Kiss hate you?
No. Well,
Or Kiss fans hate you.
Kiss fans.
Yeah,
Dude.
which we have one that's so passionate. We have Razor in the afternoon, which I love bagging on Kiss, right? I just do. And I do it just to kind of rib Razor because he's such a fanboy. So I'm in my element right now.
Well, dude,
so.
So I after pissing off Gene Simmons and then finding out the next day that Paul Stanley loved that I was pissing off Gene Simmons.
Yes.
Paul Stanley invites me to perform with Kiss on the Kiss cruise. And that is where I did something on that cruise that made the Kiss fans that are known as the Kiss Army. The Kiss Army hates me more than Gene Simmons ever did.
Wow.
Because on the first day of the cruise, I met this girl who was a cruise director. And when I was talking to her, she went, "Wait a minute. Are you Craig, the comedian, Craig Gass?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "You're the guy that does the voices on Family Guy and the, hey, do you want to do a funny announcement on the ship tomorrow morning?" And I went, "Oh, God, yes." God, let me ask you a question. If I make an announcement on the ship, who's going to hear it? And she goes, "Well, if you want, we can flip a switch and it'll get piped into every cabin." And I said, "Flip that switch."
Yeah.
I know exactly what I want everyone to wake up to tomorrow morning. The next morning, 3,000 of the biggest Kiss fans in the world woke up to bing bong.
"Hey, everybody, this is Paul Stanley, and this is Gene Simmons from Kiss. And we have a very important announcement. Do not panic, but we have a very important announcement about the Kiss cruise."
All my friends on the ship said that at that moment, all the fans on the ship had stopped in their tracks and were looking at the speakers and smiling
Yeah.
until the next words that came out of my mouth.
"We've just hit an iceberg."
Now, keep in mind, when I said we just hit an iceberg, we're in the middle of the freaking Bahamas.
Yeah. dude.
There's no reason for you as an intelligent person to go, "This ship's going down.
Yeah.
This ship's going down. We're in the Bahamas."
But
Yeah.
do not panic, because Kiss is going to take care of everybody. We actually have 3 packages to get you off the ship. First, we have the platinum package, $5,000. We'll put you in a life raft and you'll have your own private photo taken with. Then we have the diamond package. Isn't that right, Paul? That's right, the diamond package. For $10,000, where we throw you in the ocean with Tommy and Eric, and Kiss floats by on a raft. We do a private acoustic show. And everything I said was stupid, but apparently a couple of the passengers actually ran to the employees and said, "So Kiss is going to charge us to get off the boat now?" Like, they really believed it, and they got mad at me. Yeah, dude.
Well, they are the Kiss Army. So
Yeah.
It's, and was this after Titanic came out?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
years, so people were very sensitive.
Yeah,
And,
the icebergs.
Too
but
soon.
That's the
Too
role.
soon.
That's the role of a comedian. Is to
Yeah.
have fun and be playful with stuff. Like you, how often do you have comedians on?
Every couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not as often as I'd like, to be honest with you.
Any comedians that that really connected, that surprised you? Like, man, that dude was hilarious. I didn't expect him to be that funny.
With comedians, it's hit or miss, to be honest with you, because some of them,
100%.
they like aren't necessarily naturally funny, but they're great writers, right? And so, interviewing comedians over the last like 15 years, I discovered that very quickly. So.
You ever have Tracy Morgan on?
Oh, Tracy Morgan, I have actually, but only through the phone. But he's always hilarious, nonstop.
My favorite entertainment business story of all time is a Tracy Morgan story. I was opening for Dave Chappelle at Caroline's, and an agent ran up to me and was super nervous and said, "Dude, did you hear about that party last week?" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Did you hear about that party?" And I go, "What party?" He goes, "Tracy Morgan had a party turned into an orgy." What? And he goes, "Everyone's taking their clothes off. People, he paints this crazy picture about this party where everyone got naked, and he goes, and then Tracy Morgan was there." And then I was like, "When was this?" And he goes, "Last Saturday night." And right at that moment, Tracy Morgan walks around the corner. I haven't seen Tracy in probably a year at this point, and I go, "Tracy, I heard your party was messed up, man." And Tracy Morgan rolled over and just started eyeballing me. And before he said, "It was crazy."
Yeah.
It was crazy, Greg. You know what's crazy about it? When you get off on my floor, you don't even hear nothing. You don't hear nothing at all. Then you start walking towards my apartment, but you still don't hear nothing. Then you knock on my door.
but you still don't hear nothing, right?
Yeah.
And when I opened the door, there's buttholes and toes everywhere. And I went, what the hell? And just because I've never heard that phrase before, I said, did you just say buttholes and toes? And he went, yeah, before he said some of them toes were in the buttholes. And he walked out of the room, and I was like, that's the most magical story I've ever heard in my life.
I had to dump that one.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, that was
All right,
very
so,
silent. Yeah.
Was it on the stream?
Oh yeah, they heard it on the stream. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's on the stream.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh my
bye.
God, can I just listen to you for like 4 hours, have celebrity conversations with yourself? Because this is phenomenal.
That's his job, and the answer is yes, because this weekend there's 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday at Unscrewed Theater. You can get your tickets at getgas.com. The Friday show is 7 and 9. Saturday is 6 and 8.
And we're filming this for a comedy special. This is a comedy special being filmed here in Tucson. You can be a part of this comedy special, and the tickets are at getgas.com. Get gas with 2 S's.
It's gonna be hilarious. It's Gas talking about his stories, and of course, growing up in Tucson as well. So I'm sure it will jog a lot of your memories as well. We have to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. We're gonna have more with comedian Craig Gass in the 9 o'clock hour. So make sure you stick around. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA.
like, this is seriously wild.
Yeah, I was just
Wild,
I know.
like,
Oh,
and-
you got great stories.
Right. And I gotta say, because you've been doing this for how long? Like, what year, how old were you when you like started and you knew you wanted to get into like radio and comedy and all these things?
Well, first I tried to do an open mic at Laughs, and I fucking suck.
Yeah, right. Well, that
doesn't
happens with open
everybody
mics,
start
right?
that way?
Well, worse, I sucked and I was dumb.
Oh, okay.
I didn't, this is gonna sound really dumb. I went to an open mic at Laughs here in Tucson,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that comedians prepare material.
You
look-
thought it was just all off the top of their
Because
head.
that's what it looks like, right?
Mhm.
When you watch stand-up comedy, you're like, oh man, the guy's just talking. And you have no idea that if you went to 2 shows in the same night, it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But it looks like oh, hey, you know what else bothers me? And,
Right.
and you don't realize he's been saying that every show for this whole weekend. And
They
and-
laugh at the same spots
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
bit. Yeah.
That's the art. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know, unless you go see David Tell, who's just fucking
Oh my
Riffing.
God.
Yeah.
David
Yeah.
Tell. God damn, I was with David Tell 2 weeks ago, and that guy, we did a weekend once in Annapolis, Maryland. First night, he goes, all right, let's talk about anal beads. And then he sees somebody in the front row, and he goes, oh, do you not know what anal beads are? I'll tell you what they're not. They're not a good gift for the office for the holidays. and it got a huge laugh. And then the next night, I have a friend at the show, and he goes, all right, let's talk about anal beads. And I go, oh, watch this. This is a good joke. And he goes, oh, you don't know what anal beads are? Let me see if I can try to describe this to you. Anal beads are like finding out there's no Santa 8 times in a row. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? It wasn't even the same joke.
No.
And then the next night he goes, all right, let's talk about anal beads. And I tell him, oh, watch this. And he doesn't even do it.
Yeah.
He goes, what are you supposed to say when you take out the anal beads? Are you supposed to say, I came up with something. Maybe you guys can use this. This is what I say when I pull out the anal beads. I'll say, and your winning Powerball numbers are 7, 14, blood. Yeah, it's
Blood.
terrible.
So literally the same prompt.
Yes.
but-
Same
so
setup,
Same setup, but
Different punchline.
completely different jokes each time.
different level.
He is
Wow.
if comedians are mathematicians, David Tell is the only one doing advanced calculus.
Right.
He's the only one, and it's because he is genuinely bored with his own material, and he doesn't like repeating the same stuff. I've seen him get annoyed with people for laughing too hard. Like, I've seen him go like, oh God, pick a laugh.
Right.
Jesus Christ. And I'll be like, fuck, man. Like, these people are, but so I go to Laughs Comedy Club. I'm 20 years old. I sign up for the open mic, and I brought 30 friends to come watch this.
Oh
And,
no.
and I went up on stage, and the owner was like, he goes, is this your first time? I go, yeah. And he goes, okay, first time you'll have 3 minutes. I go, 3? Dude, give me 20.
Yeah.
He's like,
this.
you know what?
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. And,
No.
and so I walked up on stage. I had no idea how bright the lights were.
Right.
I had no idea how loud the microphone was. And holy shit, when you're standing on a stage and people are just quietly waiting for you to do something, that was a pressure I've never experienced before. And I think I made a joke about like, oh wow, it's it's really bright up here. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I my hands were shaking so bad I couldn't even put the mic back in the stand. And the MC had to help me. And the MC actually made a great joke. The MC came up on stage and said, "Okay, Craig Gass, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to catch the rest of his performance, come back to the 9 o'clock show. He'll finish up the rest of the set." And then that was a nice joke.
Yeah.
But I go and I sit in my seat and I watched every comedian after me, every open micer, shit on me. And they didn't shit on me like joke wise. They would shit on me like if they had material that wasn't working, they'd go, "Hey, how about that guy who bombed though? What?
Yeah.
Hey, is that guy here? Was that you? Dude, you suck, man. Why'd you come here?" And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like people were just
coming back at you. Yeah. Just trying to deflect their own failures and shit. Yeah.
They were bullying me and it just was this terrible, terrible experience. And years later, I make friends with a couple guys at KLPX, including this guy, DC Collins, who asked me to record.
Yeah. DC's still around town.
Yeah, and DC asked me to record voices for him, and he goes, "Hey, man, how many voices do you do?" And I go, "I don't know, man. I can do a bunch." And he goes, "If I put you in the studio, can you record some voices for me?" And I go, "Sure." And he goes, "All right, just do whatever voice you do. Just at the very end, say you're listening to KLPX." And I go, "All right." And I talk to myself for an hour, like doing voices and stuff. And then like a week or two later, I live with my mom. I'm still in my 20s. I'm living with my mom. And DC calls me and goes, "Hey, dude, what are you doing?" And I go, "Oh, man, I'm just hanging out, dude, playing solitaire." Like how pathetic. I'm playing solitaire. And he goes, "Yeah, man, hold on a second." And then I hear like the end of an Aerosmith song.
Yeah.
And I hear my voice. "You're listening to," it was like Sam Kinison. "Hey, guys, it's Sam Kinison. You listen to KLPX. Let's do some coke."
Yeah.
And I go, "Was that on the air?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Oh, dude, you should have told me. I could have taped that, man." And he goes, "No, hold on. KLPX. Hey, was that Sam Kinison?" And he's like, "No, it's my friend Craig. You want to talk to him?" "Oh shit, that was an impression. Holy, I was gonna say I thought that guy died." And "No, man, that's me." And like, "Oh, cool. Hold on a second. KLPX. Yeah, I just had a question. How'd you get that Sam Kinison thing?" "Oh, that's my friend Craig. You want to talk to him?" And then DC said, "Hey, man, I got to tell you something. I don't know what your plan is in life and where you're going with your life.
Yeah.
But in radio, if I get more than a few calls about a song, that's a hit song.
Yep.
And every time I play one of your voices, I always get a few calls about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your plan is, man, but I really think you should be a stand-up comedian." And I was like, "Oh, dude, I did that once and it did not go well." And he was like, "Why?" And I go, "'Cause, man, I went in, I was unprepared." And he goes, "You need to go back in to that comedy club." This is 3 years later.
Yeah.
Where that experience was like a pit in the bottom of my friends would fucking mock me and shit.
Right.
I'd go to weddings where I'd be like, "Hey, I just want to say something about you guys because I've known you guys and I love you guys. And I just want to say a few words." And someone in the back of the room would go, "I can't do this." And I'd be like, "Who said that?" Like, and so DC is telling me like, "You could be a comedian." I go, "No, I really suck." And he goes, "Dude, go back to Laughs, sign up for the open mic. And before you go on stage, just say, 'I'm funny and I belong here.'" I went back to an open mic and I was like, "I'm funny and I belong here." And I went up on stage and it was easy. I did it again a week later, and I was like, "You know what? Fuck this. I'm moving to Seattle." Moved to Seattle, started doing stand-up. And within 6 months, George Carlin started helping me. George Carlin became my mentor. And then within a year, Howard Stern wanted me on his show. And then slowly it started like, but I also had a chip on my shoulder that I wanted to get revenge on any comedian who reminded me of those assholes.
Yeah.
And
that was the fuel for the fire. I love so many things about this story. And also, it just an added appreciation and love for DC. Like DC is a good dude. And yeah, and like literally called it and was like, "No, you got something, go for it." And him being like a teacher and stuff, it's essentially like, seeing a prospect in a student.
And all I was doing was coke. Like that's all I was doing. Like I had a bad drug addiction and I was not heading in a good direction. And I still kept doing coke, but I was doing stand-up comedy.
Started doing better coke.
I started doing, yeah. Well, what happened is I'm growing up in Tucson And I would go to like desert parties out here in Tucson, and my friends in high school would be like, Craig, come here, dude. If we give you some Coke, will you do some impressions for us? And I'd be like, fuck yeah, I will.
Yeah.
And they give me
I
some.
won't stop for
Yeah.
like 4 hours.
And dude, I got really good at impressions when I was
that's
a
awesome.
teenager, but I also developed a really bad Coke habit that I had to work my way through, which eventually I did. And but yeah, dude, it was bananas how that whole thing started in Tucson, and then I went on to get to Seattle, started doing stand up there, and then I started appearing on the Howard Stern show in 1995. I started writing for the show in 98, and then I moved to New York to be closer to Howard, where I moved in with Mitch Hedberg. And,
All right,
and started,
Wow.
let's pause it there, Craig, because we got to do the talent exchange, right? So I'm going to get you over to
Frank.
To Frank,
All right, cool.
and then I want you back after you're done,
All right, you got it.
and then I'm going to get Bree in to do the fast pitch. So we have a lot to cover. I'm loving these stories. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're just getting started.
Dude, we're barely scratching the surface.
I know,
My
dude.
God.
I know.
Barely scratching
All
the
right,
surface.
so everyone on the FM side, we're going to be back with more Craig
and
Gass here.
If you're coming out this weekend, by the way, getgas.com for the tickets. So.
I'll put it on the stream as well.
Okay,
All
cool.
right, earlier this morning we talked about what the average OnlyFans model makes, and it's not that much. In case you missed it, well, something like this. Of its time, it's still sick. Scars on Broadway, who are going to be performing with Korn for the 30th anniversary out in LA. When does ticket information go on sale for that?
So pre-sales today, that's through like City Cards, and
Okay.
then Friday officially on sale, and it's only one time in LA.
Right. Yeah. So how much are tickets? Like 5,000 a piece?
Oh God, I can't even look at it. Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? I have a City Card. Maybe I'll just use it just to get on there to find it.
Yeah, just to check it out. I wouldn't suggest you pay for it. I mean, I know that you got like a new look. I know that you have like a new side hustle, so you got a little bit of money coming in. At any point during your time where things are super tight, did you consider starting an OnlyFans page?
I have considered it many times over the last couple of years.
Right. And how much do you think you would make if you had an OnlyFans page?
I don't know.
Well, I
don't
have
think
that answer.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because
Okay.
this is how much the average OnlyFans content creator makes. Now, of course, we've done stories of like celebrities and super hoes that make millions of dollars a month, right? Well, that's not the majority of people that are on OnlyFans. In fact, actually, the local OnlyFans community, which there's a lot of them out there, I'm sure are just making good side hustle money, but still have to keep their day job.
Right.
So here's a breakdown of content creators and how much they make, right? So this very rarely do you hear about, the creators who only have about 100 subscribers or so, but that's on average of because there's only so many fans out there. And there's so many content creators.
Mhm.
Now, again, you have the celebrities and the pop stars turned porn stars. They're going to amass a higher subscriber base and they're going to make more money. But the average like girl next door here in Tucson might get 100 subscribers if they aggressively market themselves. And if they do, and they're charging maybe like $14.99 a month per subscription, and they have 100 subscribers, they're looking at just under $18,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
I don't think that's worth it.
you have to subtract 20% of that because OnlyFans takes their cut, because OnlyFans is only really a cyber pimp.
Right.
And then will give you an annual payday of around $14,400.
Not worth it by the time you get done doing the filming and the editing or the pictures or the interaction. Like that, to me, you're probably not making more than $3 an hour at that point.
It's that last part that is most time consuming, the interaction, right? Yes, you could take pictures, you can make videos, you do that on your free time or do it during your kinky time, and that's fine. You upload it, but you're not necessarily going to make money if you don't interact with your fan base, right? So there you have it. If you are out there and you're looking to retire by starting an OnlyFans page, not so fast. It doesn't work out like that for a majority. It's only that like elite 3% that could make it to where you go up a tax bracket, as opposed to you just having another side hustle. So it's either get naked or drive Uber. Same difference at the end of the day.
Well, and there's a lot of people I know that like utilizing the internet on the other side of it is Etsy. They'll be like, oh, I make all this stuff. Let me go to Etsy. And it's like, it's not worth it.
Right.
Because now these sites are so flooded with users and content creators, and it's just like meh.
If you're not trying to make it your primary income, then it can be worth it, right? Because we all need a side hustle nowadays, unfortunately. But if you do think you could just quit your day job and go full OnlyFans, that's the bad news for you. It
Mhm.
probably won't work out. And just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Even if you charge $14.99 a month, and it's like, yeah, that's a lot for just some nudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, there you go. So don't quit your day job, weirdo.
No, I wasn't planning it.
All right, we're gonna hit the reset. Be back with more Beef Vegan Presents after Green Day. It's Rock 1 2.1.
It's the best of the week. It's the best of the week. Join us for the LA Lloyd Rock 30 Countdown.
Bigger right now. There you go.
All right, we're gonna get live on the air here in about 44 seconds. Please welcome to the stream. Welcome back. A woman who should be on radio with her name, Brittany Battle. That's a pretty good stage name, to be honest with you, Brittany.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get your mic on. And then joining Brittany is Tremaine. Tremaine, what's your last name again?
Ravenel.
Ravenel. I'll probably only say it once. My memory is terrible, but welcome to the show, Tremaine. Tremaine won the fast pitch competition last year, right? It was a competition where it's like one winner.
I won the Audience Choice Award.
Oh, nice.
Sponsored by Tucson Electric Power.
Oh, yes.
And there's lots of winners because we have lots of awards. So $121,000 on stage. So there's
It's a big deal. Let's get on the
big
air with
film
this.
checks, and depending on who sponsored the award, they get to pick their favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're hearing Brittany Battle. Welcome back at Rock 1 2.1 KFMA. It's that time of year. It's SVP's Fast Pitch Tucson. And, each and every year, this is a nonprofit organization that gives out grants to, small business owners and people who are giving the best type pitches. And joining Brittany is Tremaine and Tremaine Ravenel. Did I say that right?
You did. You nailed it.
See? A short-term memory. Tremaine was the winner, the audience choice winner. So welcome back to the show, first and foremost. And let's talk about Fast Pitch going in 2024. Before we do, Tremaine, what was your pitch that made the audience say, that's the best pitch, let's hook up Tremaine?
Well, so first of all, I represent the Educational Enrichment Foundation.
Okay.
And my pitch, we support the students and teachers of Tucson Unified School District, the biggest district in Tucson.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll
My
just say
daughter's
the
a part
first
of
line
that.
of my pitch was that there's a crisis in education in Arizona. So we rank 48th in public education. So
Yeah, terrible.
just talking about that and really, I believe that a lot of people found a connection to helping in education here in Tucson.
Nice. So what was part of, helping out for our youth here for TUSD? Like what's some of the programs that are going to be provided thanks to your pitch?
Well, we have three main areas that we try to support our students and teachers, which is basic needs, enrichment, and teacher support. And so two of the main ones that I think that really hit home with some people are interscholastic sports, everybody that played sports. So we cover fees. Just last semester alone, we covered about $80,000 worth of sports fees so that students can get out there and really find that connection in sports also helps students stay in school, which is definitely needed.
It does. And motivates them because they got to keep grades to a certain level. So, there's been plenty of studies that shown that kids that participate in after school sports and those kind of organizations and tend to be just more motivated and focused to get through school. So it's so important. And a school district like TUSD doesn't necessarily get the funds that they need. My daughter, a Weirdo's daughter, they're students at TUSD. So we see it, in person and see definitely the lack of funds to support and the struggle that, obviously is by no means, like because of any of the staff administration. They have to actually deal with these adversities on a regular basis and try to make the best of it. So
true.
Yeah, more resources, the better for sure. That's fantastic. So Brittany, this year with the Fast Pitch Tucson, which is happening Thursday, March 26th, the goal is to give over $100,000 on stage, right?
Oh yeah, we're giving $121,000 on stage. It's a Tuesday night, ironically.
Yeah.
Tuesday the 26th of March. It's at Fox Theater, which will be super fun. And it's a pitch showcase.
Yeah.
8 organizations are going to have only 3 minutes. They're going to get to say, what their mission is, how they need your support, and really dig deep and share their personal story or be authentic on that stage. And so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I will say Tremaine's pitch last year, because the audience choice, picked him.
Yeah.
It was the mission. It was an important mission, but also he was cool, calm, and collected up there.
Yes.
Like, he was so smooth. And so it's been fun to watch him through this like process, and then to have him back this year in this new role to help support this new class, and to be like their guy, to be their boy throughout this process, to help them see what's coming ahead.
Yeah.
Because only he knows what it's like to be in that seat, in that position.
Yeah,
is
it's
really
got to be
cool.
nerve-wracking, especially for people who don't have experience with public speaking. Did you have any kind of history of public speaking or any kind of training, or were you an actor or a performer by any means?
All of the
It
above.
should be.
Yeah, okay.
But no, honestly, I did have I went to the Elder College of Management, so twice actually. So I did have a pretty good, I'd say, foundation in public speaking. But I will say that fast pitch is fast pitch. So
Say it again.
there's nothing. Fast pitch is fast pitch. So there's nothing that really can speak to the intensity of that night. And it's also different when you're representing yourself versus when you're representing an organization that you care deeply about, that you're passionate about. And how can you connect that little piece to those donors to make them want to go in their pocket and say, I want to help you.
Yeah.
And right
exactly.
here, you're on the website right here. This picture right there, getting your check. Wearing the same suit today. Good to go.
Why you got to call them out like that? You know,
Because
that's
it
the
looks
lucky
good.
suit.
It looks good.
I always introduce Tremaine. It's like my favorite thing to do until we have a new Audience Choice Award winner. I love to be like, TEP, power to the people, Audience Choice Award winner, Tremaine Ravenel. Because it's, to me, it's like he won a Grammy. He won, he won a very coveted seat in this program, in this big event, and that is not to be taken lightly.
No, not at all.
Well, I couldn't have done it without the help of the support of SVP and their phenomenal program. I mean, like I said, the storytelling workshops, the support that you get, it's magic in a bottle that happens within 5 months, and then it all encapsulates on one night in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing that this city has resources to be able to provide and really help out the community, and that's what it's all about. What is your advice to anyone that's trying to participate in their fast pitch this year? Like, if you were to basically coach them up to anyone to try to win a grant.
Great Allen Iverson and say, practice.
Yeah, practice. How much did you practice before you went to your pitch? I mean, how much mirror time did you put
shower, car, golf course. I think at one point I may have even done my pitch to a cashier in the grocery store.
Yeah. Right? And that's what makes it so magical on that stage, is they come out confident, ready. It's like in their bones, your favorite actors out there in the world, they don't just show up and wing it, right? They're they're deep in character. And so part of this process is figuring out what your pitch is and then performing it in a way that is unique to you and also draws people, invites them in to want to give.
Yeah.
Real time, talent, and treasure.
Yeah, that's awesome. If you want to be a part of SVP's Tucson 9th annual Fast Pitch event, just by being in person or virtually, you're contributing. And then you can contribute even more from there. Brittany, let people know how they can participate, be a part of this fantastic organization.
Come out in person Tuesday, March 26th. This is a night out on the town, folks. Get dressed up, go have dinner beforehand, come to this event because you will be buzzing afterwards. You will be so inspired to see what's going on. And if you like storytelling, at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. It's just about coming together to hear really great stories, to give if you have the capacity to do so. And you can buy your tickets on foxtucson.com.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an event presented by TEP. So we're in partnership with them. They're incredible. And so just check us out. Come or watch virtually. If you want to stay home in your pajamas, that's cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. You could still be a part of it by watching virtually. And then this is a teal carpet event. What's the difference between a teal carpet event and a red carpet event?
Tell them. Nothing other than that we're branded in the logo is teal. And so everything's tealed up. And so we're just
being humble. That's not true. The teal really represents that night. I mean, it's special. It's magical. It's that SVP brand that really gets into everything in that event. So the teal really, I believe, when you feel it, when you walk in that night and you see it, it really gives you that sparkle and that, like I said, that magic feel.
Oh, I love it. Tremaine, Brittany Battle, thank you guys for coming in. The SVP Fast Pitch Tucson event is happening once again this Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but upcoming Tuesday, March 26th. It starts at 7 p.m. You can get all the information plus ticketing, like $75 to be in person at foxtucson.com, or you could join them virtually for $25. Again, that's at foxtucson.com. It all benefits the community. They're coming together around solutions, and you could be a part of their generous sponsors, or just by supporting them, just by showing up and witnessing what's going to be an entertaining evening of celebrating our community and the people out there trying to make a difference in a positive manner. I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing the information with us yet again. Congratulations, Tremaine.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so much
I
for
look
having
forward to
us.
seeing, all the benefits of, your group with the TUSD students, because honestly,
Yeah, because one of my
we
kids,
need the help.
Yeah, one of my kids wants to do cheer next year, and she needs help getting
Oh.
that money together.
All
So
right, well,
good to know.
EFTucson.org.
Okay.
And if you guys want to come to the show, we'd love to have you. We'll give you tickets. Like, come check it out. And
You make me stay up late on Tuesday night, but this is actually going to
Hey.
be, for a good cause. So
Yeah.
I'll lose
Yeah.
some sleep.
after party at the Monica. I mean, come on.
No,
Tuesday night,
I'm
come
out
on,
for the
come
after party.
on.
I'll come out for the
Yeah, yeah,
event, but I'm out for the after party. Yeah, like at 4 a.m. Come on, Brittany.
Hey, I'll be doing the robot that night, dude.
Yeah.
It'll be all done. And
You'll
I'll
be
be
sleeping
super,
until at least 8 a.m. the next
right.
morning.
If you guys want to see the Dougie, come. No, I'm just kidding.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much again. FoxTucson.com for getting more ticket information. We guys will see you at the Fox Theater on March 26th. We're going to hit the reset. Be back with more after music from Disturbed on Rock 102.1. Clear. Perfect. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was like,
That was
I
fun.
don't do after parties on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
Next year we got Thursday night, thank God, because it's our 10 year. But Fox fills up quick, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like by the time we reached out, they're like, you can have Tuesday. I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for them.
Desktop or tablet at KFMA.com. You want it? You got it. Reality radio done right. No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like
He's
it.
corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Yeah, welcome back to the show. It's Beef Vegan Presents live on Rock 102.1 KFMA, streaming worldwide at KFMA.com on this beautiful Wednesday on March 6th. Good morning, Weirdo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tucson. Thank you guys for tuning in to this Hump Day edition of the show. Got a lot of stuff going on. Going to be giving away a couple pairs of tickets. Of course, I Prevail and Trivium. We'll be giving that away a little bit later on. Cage Elephant tickets going to be happening as well. No, it's not I Prevail and Trivium.
I
It's
was about to
Hailstorm.
say,
Thank you for that confusing look. I
Yeah.
knew just based off the look on your face.
no, it's Trivium and Vote for My Valentine next year.
no.
this year it's
Don't
Hailstorm.
Stop. You just confused me now. Now I'm going to mess it up at least 7 more times. Hailstorm and I Prevail going to be performing together. I'll be giving away tickets for that show. And then, of course, KG Elephant. We'll have comedian Craig Gass in studio joining us around 8 a.m. and then just hanging out. Gass is the type of comedian that when he shows up, he just doesn't leave. I think he'll be here until like 6 o'clock later on today. Yeah, I think he was on Frank's show on Monday and stuff and just hung out the whole show. I've known Gas for years and stuff too. So, he's a hilarious dude. He's been viral several times over and, we'll catch up, cover some headlines and some good stories with him. On top of that, we got our keywords for the Rock 102.1 Cash Pal contest. So I want KFMA listeners to definitely score that $2,024 for the year 2024. Which is a crazy year. So the little extra money will go a long way.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, yesterday was Super Tuesday. It looks like we're gonna have. I saw a headline. It's a heavyweight rematch. Oh great, hey. So and that's all I have to say about that.
okay.
Yeah, let's talk about more pressing issues here. I got 2 top stories that I'll cover here. First and foremost, it looks like the city of Tucson has approved a massive multi-billion-dollar sports complex deal. which is interesting because I'm like, well, I host these Roadrunner games and we get a decent crowd, but it's not like $1 billion crowd. Like, come on, Tucson, you got to come out to these sporting events for us to afford to pay this. But it's on the south side. It's like just a giant complex, right?
Mhm.
Tons of like soccer fields, baseball fields, and whatnot. We don't necessarily have any like professional sports teams in that complex, but for whatever reason, the Pima County Board of Supervisors believe it's a good investment. So they're going to be spending $1.6 billion for 32 years and $2.3 billion also for 32 years. So
those are big numbers.
they're huge numbers.
Are they trying to do like Legacy Park up in Phoenix?
Even Legacy Park seems like it's a bust,
Right.
I mean, being from Phoenix, I don't see it. What I look at those big properties as like a massive kind of write-off and a great like laundering front. I don't see it necessarily directly benefiting the community. It's cool to have a sports complex, don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's cool to have city parks and massive parks for us to be able to have different organizations like youth sports and any kind of professional sports teams, but we don't. We have basically C and D leagues that perform here in Tucson.
Well, I mean, even going up to Legacy Park, we just used it for lacrosse, and that was the only time I've been charged to go watch my kid play. So that's a little frustrating.
Yeah. So, you talk about something that's like so much money to build, and then it's a public park. You're going to see your 10-year-old play lacrosse, and they're charging you parking like you're going to see Billy Joel in concert.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Parking was $10 and to get in was $15.
Are you out of your mind, dude? That's crazy.
Clearly they are. Of course I'm going to go and watch my kid.
I know. At that point, they have you held hostage because if you don't pay, then you're a bad mom who doesn't love your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Anyways, the county said the sports and entertainment complex will generate billions of dollars and support tens of thousands of jobs over the 40-year term of the master lease. So maybe they have bigger plans than I can even fathom at this point. It's really difficult to be able to, see what they're seeing at this point. But they say the facility will cover 90 acres when finished. It will include an ice complex with 3 rinks. Well, that's good, especially if we continue to have the Tucson Roadrunners here. But that's not even a guarantee because with the Arizona Coyotes, there's always speculation that they're going to be sold to another market. And if they move to another state, there's a damn good chance that the Roadrunners will have to leave as well.
Yeah.
So nothing is guaranteed as far as the future and, how solid the plans are for the future when it comes to especially the Coyotes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they say 3 ice rinks, which is great, an indoor sports center and an outdoor stadium, along with 14 restaurants and 3 hotels. Yeah. And this is like a Phoenix type build.
Yeah.
Right? But like, what is the draw? You have all these like great venues and massive space. What's going to bring tens of thousands of people there on a regular basis? I don't know. I don't want to like start off the day being negative, but again, it's like, wow. I mean, that's a pretty ambitious project you got going on here,
How
Tucson.
long has this been in the works?
Yeah.
Because this is the first I'm hearing about it.
Well, unfortunately, they left you out of the loop this time. I know usually when it comes to city planning, you're the first to email.
Well, I mean, it seems kind of huge. Things have been a headline before now.
Yeah, well, you got to read the news. I mean, maybe I've heard about it before, but either way, we're not going to get into that. I just love that you're aghast. Like, what? They didn't even tell me. Who the F are you, dude? Why would they care? And
it's not me directly. Just God.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, you know what? I will reach out to them and see if they'll write a formal letter of apology for not keeping you in the
I'd
loop.
really appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you.
So let me get back into the details here before you continue to be offended at the information. They say they're seeking the approval today, the approval of a project that will positively affect Pima County residents, which is, you know what? I mean, as far as this city is concerned, the more we build, the better, I would think. I would agree. I would think a lot of people would agree because it might bring in more revenue to be able to, I don't know, fix the streets a little bit, address some issues here that's around Midtown, like, I don't know, the homeless crisis. And it's, you know what? This is our fault. This is our fault because we live in Midtown. We live in Grant and Alvernon intersection. So what we see on a regular basis is a dystopian presence, right? So when we hear of a multi-billion-dollar project, you're like, well, who's going to go to this, man?
Right. Because I was literally driving down Grand. I was like, oh, they finally fixed that pothole. There's 3 more potholes.
I know, dude.
They can't keep up.
So it's hard to be like, oh, there's people out there with money that will be able to, fill up these 14 restaurants on a regular basis on the South Side. When we look around and be like, it doesn't look like anybody has a job in this town, man. So, but we're not going to be negative. Let's be positive. Let's hope that, the powers that be, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's cool to have big venues, new toys, and other things that make us look like a real city, like a big boy city, like the rest of the country.
Right. But to be fair, I remember when they said that about Keno Sports Park.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Keno Sports Bar still has like Mexican baseball. So you can go there.
Yeah.
I went to Mexican baseball game not too long ago. There was about 17 people there, which was nice. And it costs, I'm sure the cost for the lights to be on was about $15,000. So if everyone spent $1,000 to get in, I got my tickets for free. Then I'm sure they had it covered. It's interesting though. They said the county has been looking for a win in that area since the Chicago White Sox and Arizona Diamondbacks pulled out of the stakes and stopped spring training, which was a major moneymaker for this city for many, many years.
Yep.
And they say while this will not replace that, it will likely be more valuable to the community because families and youth sports will have a place to play. Again, so I have a feeling that it will be almost like the same scenario that Weirdo just dealt with this past weekend, where like, yes, you could go see your kid play. It'll be adorable. Just make sure you bring cash because parking and admission will not be free. All right, let's get this show moving. Again, we got tons of tickets to give away. Your Morning Moron coming up after Jelly Roll, kicking things off with Smashing Pumpkins. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. You know the name of the show. Let's go. Yeah, you like my Let's Go this morning? Yeah, I know you do. Craig Gass should be joining us again here. But if he's not back in by the time we get on, we'll start with the confession session with Weirdo. And I thought I downloaded a couple different segments from this morning, but apparently I didn't in my haste, which is fine. We had a lot of stuff. Yeah. Last night, I saw Jeff thanking us for streaming the Lost podcast. So on Monday morning,
Lost podcast.
That's what I called it.
Oh, Monday. The one I wouldn't download.
Yeah, and it was 55 minutes of content, right? It was basically almost like an hour, and we were, on point on Monday morning. We're feeling good of just about the context of the content and the delivery. So I wanted to share that, and I have to go through later on and clip it up. But yeah, thank you guys for checking it out. I saw that you guys are streaming it in real time, and I lurked a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was reading some of the comments for a little bit at the tail end because I did schedule it and then I forgot.
You ever do that? Yeah. Schedule something and forget?
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
My God, if it's not in my calendar, it's not happening.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, my girlfriend forgot to put something in the calendar that we were gonna do. So she texted me on Friday at 2:00. She's like, "Hey, by the way, I forgot about this." I was like, oh, "This kind of now feels like an impromptu last minute thing, because we never do that."
I just got an email from Razor. I was wondering if he's bitching about us roasting him about being a Kiss fan. Here, let's get on the air.
Okay.
Rock on 2.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We'll be joined by comedian Greg Gass again here in a little bit. But since we have a minute, it is Wednesday. That means it's a confession session Wednesday. And Weirdo continues to get emails sent to her anonymously at weirdo@kfma.com. This, ladies and gentlemen, is your weekly confession session. What's the first email that you received, Weirdo?
All right. My brother and I don't see each other a lot. When we do, we have fart competitions based on length, smell, and sound. Loser has to pay the winner $20.
Oh.
We have been doing this since we were 12. We are now in our late 30s.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a dude. I would hope it's a dude. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Brothers be farting.
Yeah.
That's I grew up with my best friend had a little brother, and we were all part of a crew. They were just the nastiest gas passers, right? In fact, actually, they had a diet that consisted of heavy pepper. I'm talking they would put pepper, piles of pepper on their food. And I think they did it not because of the flavor and the taste. I think they did it because they knew that the results,
bombs.
would be pepper bombs. It'd be pepper spray farts. They're brutal.
Mhm.
And I know they still do it to this day as they're, in their 40s at this point. So
That childlike humor never goes away.
yeah. So moral of the story is that's somewhat normal. And I'm sure there's a lot of brothers out there that are probably like, yeah, I do that with my brother too. Fart on, farter. All right. What else you got?
All right. My wife keeps suggesting I start going to the gym with her brother as he's really motivated and he's there all the time.
Okay.
The only thing is he doesn't actually go to the gym.
Really?
He's having an affair.
Oh,
And
he's super
he's
motivated.
Begging me not to spill the beans on this. I'm not sure how to handle this. And it's simple. Go sign up for another gym. Just go and then keep the lie going say you're going together. It's fine.
Though, it's such a slippery slope because now you're going to have to work out because she's going to continue to use her brother as being like, I'm sure we just showed a study that married guys gain weight, right? Which is, nothing new, not new information. Everybody knows that you get comfortable in your weight and in relationship as well. It just happens for guys.
You get fat and happy.
Right. So essentially, she's kind of hinting to you that you're a little pudgy and, you should get all fit like, her brother is, who's going to the gym every night. Every night. And you're...
Who works out 7 days a week, twice a day?
Yeah, do 2 days. 19-year-olds? I mean, how's... yeah, so... what I'm saying is, what a tough scenario to be in because you want to be like, hey, babe, I'm a really good husband being the doughy one because this doughy one, isn't banging somebody else. But
that's not a situation I've ever been in, being aware of somebody having an affair and having to keep the secret. I've been very fortunate to not have to deal with that.
Okay.
Because I don't know what I would do. Because I don't like lying. I don't like dishonesty. And you need to be upfront with these things. And I would probably tell.
Yeah, honestly, I think I was in a situation like that, but I was under the idea that it was a mutual
kind of
agreement.
don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah. That's I'm like, oh, that seems like cheating. And he's like, no, man, she's cool with it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I believed him. Turns out she was not cool with it and did not know. And I was, in a better relationship with her than him. So in hindsight, I wish I said something, but
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
That's such a difficult situation.
There's also bro code, and I do, subscribe to that. I don't believe in cheating, right? It's, not that I haven't ever done it. I definitely have, but it's still not cool. And so what are you gonna do? Move forward.
Moving on.
That's
our hot take. Let's
again,
go.
These stupid confession sessions get me admitting to more stuff than anything else.
Pretty much.
All right, continue.
All right. I'm not. Yeah. So this one's a confession and apparently a life hack. So this is not my confession exactly, but my mechanics.
Okay.
He encouraged me to rent the same make and model of car I had, so he could exchange the gearboxes, as it would be faster and cheaper than waiting for a brand new one.
Gearboxes, huh?
Yeah. Or another part on a car that you're needing and it's on back order and it's, again, rent the car for $90-$100.
Right.
And then you got it, switch it out, pay your mechanic and be on your way.
Oh, nice.
So little life hack, probably super illegal, but life hack nonetheless.
Still a life hack, yeah.
Still a life hack.
All right, I like that. Anything else in confession sessions, Weirdo?
Last one. Once turned down a threesome with my wife and another woman because I was having some stomach problems.
Oh, no.
Since then, my wife has never again showed any interest, insisting it was the right time, right place, right person situation. And this doesn't remind her, constantly reminding me that I missed my chance.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was going to do a one and done and you messed it up, son.
Yeah. I can relate to that too. All these confessions. Are you sure I'm not
stop doing this segment because you just, start playing the fifth.
Well, dude, honestly, there's been so many times in hindsight that because I've had a lot of female friends and, and associates or whatnot. And I've felt like, I'm getting vibes, but at the same time, if they're in this lane, then I don't pursue it, and I've had too many times where just like, yeah, I would have done you. Like, what? Like, I swear to God, like my friend Sarah, this is up in Vegas. A couple of them, Sarah, Clara, everyone that rhymes with the era, Tara probably, but my friend Sarah was up in Vegas to celebrate my friend Beth's birthday. And then I was jokingly like, you would have banged me, right? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, what what? And she's married now. I'm like, son of a bitch, because Sarah's hot as hell. And that's an opportunity I would not have passed on. And we always kind of vibed and joked with each other, flirty in a way. And I've known her since 8th grade. So it was one of those like things that, was on a bucket list for a long ass time. Now, unfortunately, I really like her stupid husband and respect him, and not in a million years.
No, I mean, I had that happen several times in my 20s where dudes, first of all, wrecked my self-esteem in high school.
Right.
Then start hitting on me in my 20s, been like, yeah, I would have gone out with you in high school. I'm like, then why were you making fun of me? Like, I don't understand.
Because that's the move. That's what you do.
That's the dumbest move.
Well, those are boys. Boys are dumb, and
Right.
that's what happens. And that's how we flirt, right? Stupid. Okay. Let's hit the reset. We got more Be Vegan Presents, including comedian Craig Gass joining us again. Coming up next on Rock 102.1 KFMA.
Thanks for taking accountability for all men. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're stupid. Moving on.
No. I was flirting with you. I was calling you a name because that was me being flirty. It was in context of the thing. I'm joking. I'm not necessarily flirting with you, but I was pretending to flirt with you by being mean and saying stupid, right? You didn't get. Did you just hear the words that came out of your mouth? Did anyone else on the stream understand what I was doing there? I wasn't necessarily calling you stupid. I was being one of those stupid
you were
boys.
saying the boys are stupid.
Yes, because boys are
Where
stupid.
was the insult?
Well, I called you stupid because I was being mean. I was being a mean boy because boys are stupid. They don't know how to flirt, so they're just mean. So I was joking like I was flirting with you by calling you stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I missed it.
Yeah, you gotta watch the replay. All you're doing is approving. I'm just kidding. All right. Earlier this morning, we
We're
talked
gonna get
about
canceled.
shrinkflation, and Weirdo wanted to remind everybody she has gross bathroom habits. Check this out. 2.1 KF, man. Welcome back to Be Vegan Presents. Yesterday was Super Tuesday, and I can give a rat's ass. I'll be honest with you, right? And if you listen to the show, I don't get caught up in political distraction, right? The left and the right. I feel like it's all the same interest, right? Big business, corporate interest is what is the dictatorship in this country. And I believe, the talking points of both sides of the aisle are playing the oldest trick in the book, divide and conquer, get us against each other.
Right.
You got to realize both sides of the aisle, as far as American citizens, we still fall victim the same. We're all victims to a big business and corporate interests. I'll give you a couple examples just to back this up. Apple's in hot water with the EU. They just had to pay $2 billion as a fine. Now, according to the European Union's Commissioner competition, Apple abused its dominant position by forcing Spotify and other music streaming apps not to tell customers they could save money if they subscribed outside the App Store.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a little bait and switch kind of thing.
Got it.
Right? They say that Apple's move was illegal and impacted millions of European consumers. Now, the EU, they don't mess around, and they actually find big businesses all the time.
Yeah, they don't mess around over there.
Right. Yeah, but we do.
Yeah.
We mess around. And it's just like, oh, how much did you get pilfer from the American people who continue to make the same money while prices continue to go up? Because the reality is, especially over the last 10 years, you're seeing this. The consumer is really the victim. Inflation began because of supply and demand, over the pandemic era,
right?
Where the prices went up because they're like, hey, man, we don't have enough of the supply and the demand is high. So we have to raise prices, to which a normal person, totally understands. Pandemic's over. The supply gets back to normal, but the prices don't go down.
In fact, they keep going up.
Exactly. And this is an issue and this is a problem. And now, along with inflation, we got a new term over the past 5 years called shrinkflation.
Right.
Now, shrinkflation is so problematic that even the Cookie Monster is speaking out against it. Yes.
That would make sense.
Sesame Street's Cookie Monster literally tweeted out the other day, me hate shrinkflation. Me cookies are getting smaller. Guess me going to have to eat double the cookies. This was an actual tweet.
First of all, Cookie Monster has his own Twitter.
Yes, of course. Cookie Monster has his own Twitter, and it's a verified account with a blue check and everything. Yeah,
very nice.
Matches his fur.
Okay.
Now, he's not wrong. In a report back in December from Democratic Senator Bob Casey, it notes that Oreo double stuffed chocolate sandwich cookies saw a 6% decrease in size by weight from January 2019 to October 2023. Now, prices on the cookies have also gone up in that time.
Yeah.
The report also lays out that household paper products like toilet paper and paper towels are 34.9% more expensive per unit than they were in January 2019 before the pandemic.
Okay, all I have to say to that is I don't look so stupid for having reusable wipes and paper towels, do I? That is something I have not had to worry about. When everybody was out there rushing to stores, couldn't get a hold of toilet paper, I had no problem. I still have my washer and dryer, good to go.
Not stupid, just gross. I mean, you're still
It's
using
not
that to
gross.
wipe and stuff, right?
And then you wash them.
Okay, yeah, that's again another debate for another time. You're not selling me on that, weirdo. I just will not. I mean, I see what comes
Someday
out of me.
I will.
I see what comes out of me, and if it touches anything, I throw that away.
What about a bidet? Use a bidet.
A bidet would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly,
They're not that expensive now. They're very affordable, very comfortable.
So let's stay focused on the issue at hand. Is the the
I'm trying
robbery
to
of the
give
American people?
solutions
No, man.
to get out of the system and not be victim to this.
No, stop it. You're all you're doing is finding workarounds, and that's not the point. The point is, like the American people as a whole should speak up and say, no more. What you're doing here is completely wrong, and you're gouging us every step of the way. Again, the salaries remain the same, prices for everything go up, and the products that we're receiving are a lot smaller, so we're going through them quicker. It's not a coincidence that we're spending more at the grocery stores, and it really comes down to the companies that continue to make record profits. That is my issue. And that is more important than any kind of fake like talking points on either side of the aisle designed to divide and conquer us while they pay the lobbyists to essentially continue to push big businesses' interests. And so the bottom line is more important to the top 1% than the rest of the nation and the world for that matter. So thank you, Cookie Monster, for speaking up, because it takes a hero like Cookie Monster, who never used the bidet, by the way. He wipes with toilet paper. Toilet paper is only 3 sheets now because shrinkflation. Okay.
I mean, I didn't have that on my 2024 bingo card that it was finally going to be Cookie Monster on Twitter making a difference and giving voice to the small people.
Yes. And thank you while I was on my little soapbox there to remind people that you use the same washcloth to wipe your butt over and over again. You're disgusting. All right, let's hit the reset. We got Cage Elephant tickets up for grabs coming up next. Plus, comedian Craig Gass going to join us in studio. And we're going to start the podcast broadcast a little early. So join us, YouTube.com. All right, we are back, and thank you, Audie, for joining the stream and showing some love on the comments. And that was my Cookie Monster impersonation. Craig Gass will join us again on Friday morning. It looks like he's
the popular man in the building.
I know. Well, he's a radio guy, right?
Yeah.
So he's spending all week long, and again, we know that it's easy for someone like Gass to come in as like a guest. Because he is a radio guy and with all the voices, so you just kind of have to sit back and laugh. It's almost like taking a day off. Frank loves taking days off, so when he gave him his little bit, he's just like, "Yeah, take over."
Mhm.
All right, I get it. So, but I was like, Craig, dude, you left us on a fucking cliffhanger. You gotta finish out the story. He's like, "Can I do it tomorrow?" No, tomorrow I'm talking with Ryan from Mother, which I'm super excited about. That's a conversation that I've been waiting to have for a while, and we're gonna have that live on the podcast broadcast. And there's other stuff too. I got to look at my calendar. But Friday we'll close out strong with Gass joining us again. And it should be a good time. So the dude just loves doing radio and working with Howard Stern too, which, I'm a fan of Howard, and I understand there's going to be people being like, oh, Howard nowadays is like, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. The behind the scenes of how Howard operates his show is very similar to how we do our show, but on a much grander scale, a more expensive scale. He showed us basically while everyone's streaming. Everyone's from like a home location now, right? Every single member of his staff, they're all just kind of streaming from home because you can with that technology, but you're talking about 50 people. And so everyone's connected at the same time. There's 50 people, and you could see in the backstage screen, there's basically little rectangles with everybody's name on it,
right?
That he could just go to and pull up on the stream essentially. And then there's also people who are never going to be on the air. They're just behind the scenes people that are connected, and they're basically the engineers, making sure the audio and the video is all pristine, and just do it that way. Right. So now, the Howard Stern show, is basically people from all over the country that all work remotely from their place to be a part of the show. And it's, again, not very different from what we're doing here.
Right.
And it essentially is not going to be different from how anyone is going to do it in the future.
Yeah.
Because you can. And we've been, like I said before, I've been doing a radio show with people not in the same room, not in the same state for now like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
You know, starting with Schmonty. So, yeah, it was intriguing. And so there's more information and stories that I want to hear from Gas. But, you know, his story, he's just trying to sell his tickets.
Right. And Howard Stern's still doing what, 4 hours a day?
No. First off, Howard Stern only does 3 days a week.
Oh, does he do 3 days a week now?
Yeah. And it's been that way for a while. And he works from home now. And yeah, he's living a good life.
Right.
And he said, just like Craig said, actually, he's only been in studio about 4 times in the last year or two. And that's only being in studio when there's a very special guest. Like he went to Miami and was in the Miami studio when Billy Joel was in studio. He went to the studio when Keith Richards was in studio. So anyone that he idolizes and he wants to, you know, really bond with, or is one of his very close friends. And actually, I don't even think he's close friends. I think he'd stay home for his very close friends because he gets to see them all the time. So anyone he's a fanboy of, he'll actually make the effort to go in the studio so he can get that FaceTime.
Right.
Everyone else is like, I'm not leaving my house. And I don't blame him. You know, it's a comfortable setup. I wouldn't broadcast from my house, but that's because my house sucks. You know, but if I had a dope ass house, you know, with a dope ass basement that I could turn into my own studio, it'd be tempting not to leave that house. Yeah. Especially if I was back east. With all these like snowstorms and weather. I mean, we're fortunate that we live in Arizona.
Oh God, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
You know what they say though? So we had such a mild winter, right? And I knew this is going to happen. But experts are already forecasting like a record-breaking horrendous hurricane season, you know, and that seems to be the case. It's like an every other year thing. So last year was kind of a mild hurricane season. And then we had a mild winter, and that means it was warmer all the way around. Right. And that means the water's warmer. And now when these storm cells start forming over the Atlantic, they're going to be hitting Florida hard. And people are moving out of Florida, actually at a record pace, for whatever reason. People are deciding no more of this nonsense. Maybe it's the neighbors. Maybe it's the weather.
I was about to say weather and Florida men, like, get the hell out of there.
A combination. But they got good tax breaks and a lot of beaches, you know?
Well, and something, because I've never dealt with hurricanes my whole life, but like I didn't realize how much the weather in the Sahara Desert in northern Africa, that's actually the start of hurricanes. So depending on how dry it is there, so if they're having bad weather, we're screwed.
All right.
Yeah.
That's the first I heard of that, but I'll have to research that on my own time. Welcome back to the show. It's Rocco on 2.1 KFMA. And it's just a weirdo and I hanging out here, and it was just good because I want to geek out a little bit about the legend of Ric Flair.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I know what you're going to talk about.
Well, yeah, The Rock just greenlit a biopic. Yeah. So, okay, here's the deal with wrestling biopics. Right now, they're in trend. We had the Marvel, we had the superhero trend, which a lot of people are agreeing that phase is over. Yeah. People have done. Superhero fatigue. All right. So now it's on the pro wrestling biopic trend. We just had Iron Claw, which of course will be up for a bunch of awards, was successful at the box office. A lot of people dig. We've had movies like The Wrestler in the past that kind of touched on the behind the scenes aspect of professional wrestling. And they also greenlit and maybe shot a Hulk Hogan biopic, but we don't know more about that. Initially, it was going to be Chris Hemsworth starring as Hulk Hogan, which people are excited about. Chris Hemsworth got super yoked, more than Thor yoked for this role. And I have no status update on whether that movie was shot, when it will be released. And I think the reason is, and the problem is, that Hulk Hogan had his fingerprints all over it. So when it's somebody who is involved in feedback of biopics, and they're like, hey man, hey brother, I don't want you to talk about me doing so much cocaine in the 80s.
Right.
You know? Like, no, sorry, man. That's part of your story.
Exactly.
That's what you called vitamins. And you told kids to do it. So that's on you. And you know what? As kids, I'm a Hulk Hogan kid. I listened. Anyways, so
I followed directions.
Anyways, there's one story that is legendary, and that's the life and times of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Ooh. Yeah. Woo. Go ahead and say it. Now, Nature Boy's story, I think most people know by now, but we haven't seen it acted out on the big screen. And, Nature Boy was, he was adopted. He grew up with rich parents, and he was kind of a troublemaker, kind of a bonehead, and he went into professional wrestling. He was a large 300+ pound man, big fat dude, until he got into a plane accident that killed several people, but he miraculously survived with a broken back. From there, became the leading professional wrestler for decades.
My God.
Being the NWA heavyweight champion for over 10 years, being the top draw around the world. And this, of course, is comparable to Hulk Hogan's reign. It was a different level, but still the same.
Because you looked at Ric Flair's charisma. Like, you could not look away from the TV when he was opening his mouth. Like, you just couldn't.
Yes. So on screen, very charismatic and an excellent worker. Behind scenes, like a fall down drunk alcoholic, sexaholic. And the stories and the legendary stories that he can remember and the people that recall, Ric Flair, are all just legendary performances. A dude would drink like 2 bottles of vodka, bang a couple models, wake up in the morning and do an hour on the Stairmaster. That is Ric Flair.
Right, while losing anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 worth of jewelry and
Easily.
clothes.
Right, yes. So this film will document the Nature Boy's rise through the multiple circuits that he wrestled through in the 1970s before finally finding a home in NWA, later to become the WWE. And the film will be produced by none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And it's a safe bet the story will be told from the standpoint of ultimate reverence of a man who truly changed the game when it came to professional wrestling, but also a man who battled demons throughout that run. So it'll be very interesting to see details as far as when they're going to start shooting that. Do not know yet, but it has been greenlit and it will be produced by The Rock. So The Rock is continuing to cash in on professional wrestling. Let's keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. We'll wrap things up with the beef tip after these words. It's Rock 102.1. I am like a goddamn journalist, dude. Sometimes, when I deliver stuff here, I'll give you a pro and a con because I've been hitting my T's as well. You've been seeing that this week,
Your
right?
teases, your ramps, good.
Yeah. And so our speed breaks have been solid. I'm trying to, the chip on my shoulder continues to grow. And I'm trying to be just like the best radio broadcaster, not only that I can be, but just better than most. You can't be better than them all. There's some really good ones out there. And I give credit and respect where they're due. But I really want to be great at this. And so much so, and it's dedicated my adult life to it. So I feel good when I am clear-headed, clear-minded, and I'm able to clearly convey a message, be entertaining or engaging, and also move the conversation forward and keep people listening is the goal. And hit those teases and do all the busy work. But then at the same time, I'll still mentally fry out and melt down. So like when we were talking with SVP. There was a couple times when literally my brain just shut off mid-sentence. I'm trying to talk about the educational system or the education system. See,
right.
It's not even educational. So the education system. Yeah, these kids and they're I went to Catalina too.
These kids are poor as shit and they need money. That was the message you were trying to get across.
Yeah, well, it's true. And
they are, but they should be given the same opportunities.
No, on the 4-hour stream. And that's a hard no all the way through because
that's a lot.
Yeah. We have less viewers with a 4-hour stream than we do with a 1-hour stream. It is important to kind of,
we gotta find that balance.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make the podcast broadcast, fast-paced, entertaining, jam-packed, not lull, So, I appreciate that, Addie. Showing a lot of love there.
Well, and you're talking about when your brain fries out, when I go to do my voice tracks, there's been some that I'm not speaking English, but you've really taught me this might seem like a backhanded comment, but it's really not, I promise.
Okay.
You have taught me the confidence to roll with it, not to freeze, not to freak out. Let me just make a joke about it and move on. And that was one of my breaks this when I think it was covering for Robin on Friday. And I was just I must have recorded it 4 times. I was I got to move on with my life. And then I was and when I come back, I will remember how to speak English. Rock 102.1. You know what I mean? It's just leaning into it, not taking it so seriously and being up in my head so much.
Perfectly imperfect too, and that's how Mucho would voice track as well, and he would bang out voice tracks within 20 minutes because he's like, if I make a mistake, then it sounds live.
Right.
It really is. And it is absolutely fine to do. And yeah, I mean, I've been fucking up on the air since the very beginning. Todd could attest. I think
my biggest fear is like putting my foot in my mouth kind of thing.
You admit to everybody that you use the same fucking piece of clothing to wipe your ass. And you're worried about your foot in your mouth. I'm worried about your shirt in your mouth. There's fecal matter on that shirt.
My God, do you not know how washing machines work?
No one on the stream does, actually. And we're all team.
Actually, no, Jeff was like, yeah, you just put bleach in the washer. Like,
okay.
Like washers are created to be clean by the time they are done.
We're back on the air, so you don't need to defend your gross bathroom habits. And, I mean, okay.
It's not gross.
It's not gross. Okay. So, yes, you could put, reusable bath tissue in the washing machine, and that's going to be clean. You put some bleach in it, and I guess none of those germs or fecal matter sticks around. Good for you. What do? You put it in a little basket, and how often do you
called a wet bag?
It's a wet bag.
Yes,
you got to seal it, right?
Because it's got a zipper.
That's good.
And then it's got
Is it an airtight zipper? It's like a double bag? Basically, I would only be on board if you put away those used rags into something that Colombian cartel kingpins would smuggle cocaine in, right? Like it has to be like to where not even dogs can smell it. That's the only way I would even consider it for a second, and it's still a hard no. But like you put it in a space capsule, right? That is so airtight that nothing
sealed,
no oxygen whatsoever goes in or out. Once you put it in there, then maybe. But I don't think you do that. I think you put it in like a trash can.
No, we don't put
bag.
it in a trash bag.
You got a corner.
No, it is a special thing called a wet bag that's made out of a certain material.
Okay.
You put it in there, and like we have enough wipes for about a week.
Okay.
And then they go into the washer on the sanitation cycle, and then they go in the dryer.
What a crappy laundry day, huh?
Well, once the bag is full, we put it out in the laundry room, and then we have like a couple of bags.
Surprised you don't do a bonfire to make sure no neighbors come within 3 miles of your house.
My God.
That's generational poo you're talking about, weirdo. All right, my beef tip to you. We are out of time, unfortunately, but we had a good time. We're going to have comedian Craig Gass join us again Friday morning. So, he'll continue his Kiss stories. Hilarious comedian. He has a couple shows at Unscrewed Theater on Friday and Saturday night. So if you're looking to laugh, he has a comedy special all about growing up in Tucson, and he's filming that special. You could be a part of it. Just go to getgas with 2 S's.com for ticket information. You could probably score those. Speaking of tickets, we'll continue to give away tickets for Cage the Elephant tomorrow morning, as well as Hailstorm and I Prevail. Just listen for your opportunities to win, and we'll continue to give away those keywords so you can win $2,000 to be part of the Rock 1 2.1 Cash Pal. Speaking of the Cash Pal, your next opportunity to qualify to win is at 11:15 with Robin Nash, so keep it right here. Until then, thank you, weirdo. Thank you, streamers. And don't forget to subscribe, youtube.com. Enjoy the rest of your day. Drive safe, and as always, rock local, youtube.com/vegan. I mean, so close to being smooth. I almost executed the dismount.
It was almost there.
Almost there. I looked into your eyes is the problem, and then I got distracted. You're stupid. You want to bang?
Thanks, Buttercup.
Booski. All right, Babooski. You guys have a good day.
I have the best